Listen, man, my generation is saying they're done with the 90s. I'm done with the GOAT debate. And the thing is, I've been stopped having serious GOAT debate discussions for years now. After like 2021, I realized this debate is so stupid. It's so pointless. People are just making the worst arguments on both sides, really, for the guy that it's gotten also to the point where people on both sides are willing to twist the truth, take things out of context, completely leave out context, and at times just blatantly lie just for the sake of their guy having a leg up in this GOAT debate. But now we're at the point where the younger generation is done with the 90s apparently. And when this trend of people going back and watching old 90s footage and pointing certain things out like, oh, Michael Jordan doesn't have a left, and then the way that the old heads responded to it, I ain't gonna lie, it really felt like an NBA civil war. One generation fighting the other generation, the newer generation fans, fighting back against this notion that like the 90s was the greatest era ever. Then you have the older crowd, which some of them were trying to like reciprocate the same energy, saying like, oh, we're done with the 2010s, we're done with the 2020s. And then others were just trying to, protect the integrity of the 90s just as an era, because the younger generation, I'm not gonna lie, when it got to the point where people were saying like Michael Jordan is just Jaylen Brown or like DeMar DeRozan, that's when I knew like, okay, we've gone a bit too far. Like, I understand y'all are done with the 90s, but we're not just gonna flat out disrespect Michael Jordan as a player. Like, come on now. But the thing is, everybody has already given their take on if they're done with the 90s or not. People have talked about, the importance of context and how you can't just cherry pick certain clips. I've even talked about it on my TikTok page. Follow me if you haven't already. Should be linked down below. I've talked about this topic ad nauseum, but I kind of wanted to explore like how this is going to affect the GOAT debate. And I really want to drive home the point that the GOAT debate is ultimately the most pointless debate in basketball, or really in sports. But before I do that, if you like videos like this and you want to see more of them, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank y'all for 600 subscribers. I know I haven't been as consistent on my YouTube channel as my TikTok, but plain and simple, the content on my TikTok page is just so much easier to make, and it's a lot less time consuming with these long form videos, so bear with me. More videos will be on the way soon though, especially because the NBA playoffs are right around the corner, so there's a lot of content that's going to be made. So if you want to see a lot of that content, make sure to subscribe. But I'm done with the plug, let's get back in the video. Okay, here's my main issue with the GOAT debate, right? When people were first starting to debate who was the greatest of all time back in like 2013, the three names that you will really hear is Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron. Slowly but surely, Kobe Bryant was pushed out of those conversations, so now it's just between LeBron and MJ. The main issue that I have with the GOAT debate is the fact that it's always being had no matter the time, no matter the place. If a highlight page like House of Highlights, let's say, if they post a compilation of like Michael Jordan highlights for whatever reason, right, guarantee you somebody in the comment section is gonna try and bring up the GOAT debate somehow. They're gonna allude to it. They're gonna say something like, oh, Michael Jordan's overrated, LeBron is better. And a lot of people, they do it for engagement, but a lot of the time people just like to troll. But the sad part about it is I can't just appreciate something that LeBron did or appreciate something that MJ did without the comment section turning into an entire GOAT debate. And it's also extra annoying when LeBron, who's still playing and whose legacy is only growing at this point, if LeBron does something significant, like recently he just surpassed 40,000 points, the only NBA player to ever do so, people on both sides are gonna argue in the comments about, oh, does this make him the GOAT or not? And that part is just like, bro, just appreciate basketball. That's one of the things that annoys me. It's like LeBron haters and LeBron fans unironically take him for granted because of this debate, and it's actually wild when you really think about it. LeBron is 39 years old. We don't know how much he has left. We don't know how many years of superstar level talent he has left, and it really shows that people are willing to lose sight just to argue who's better between him and MJ. And that's another major issue with this debate. Both fan bases are two sides of the same coin. The stereotypical MJ lover is around like 25 to 50 years old, let's say, and the average bronzexual is most likely under the age of like 27. And both sides don't realize how similar they actually are. they both love to cherry pick certain things and leave out all the context behind it, intentionally and unintentionally. Like, one of the big LeBron arguments is, oh, MJ went 1-9 in the playoffs without Scottie Pippen, completely ignoring all context behind that whole thing. And what MJ fans love to do is they like to basically criticize LeBron for his finals record, even though there's context behind those. Both fan bases also feel the need to tear down the other player's legacy in order to prop up their guy. And this isn't even a problem that's, only specific to the GOAT debate. This is just a problem with NBA discourse in general. People always feel the need to tear down the other guy just to prop up their guy. And it's like, you can credit Michael Jordan for the things that he's done while also saying why you believe that LeBron is better. And the same thing goes the other way. And it's also so funny when both sides fail to realize the double standards that they hold each player to. LeBron fans love to criticize Michael Jordan because he didn't have LeBron's longevity, when it's like nobody has LeBron's longevity. And then Michael Jordan fans love to criticize LeBron because he lost like every year until like year 9, but Michael Jordan didn't win a championship until like year 7 or year 8. Like, realistically, you can call out both sides for the hypocritical arguments that they make. And then another component of this is that both fan bases cannot think for themselves. They both repeat the same arguments they hear on social media, on these talk shows, and then they shape their opinion based off of extreme confirmation bias. They'll only talk about a clip that makes the opposition look bad, but they'll ignore a clip that makes their guy look bad. This happens numerous times. LeBron fans, they always have some sort of excuse whenever he fails, but then they'll cherry pick something from Michael Jordan's career that doesn't make him look all too favorable, and MJ fans do the same thing with LeBron. This is exactly what's happening with the whole "we're done with the 90s" trend. Everybody's going back and they're watching old games, but they're only showing the things that make the 90s look bad because it's going to look bad on Michael Jordan, and everyone's just going to think, oh, well, he played against plumbers. And the thing that everyone is losing sight of is the fact that this debate doesn't have a clear, concrete answer, but they're treating it as if there's a concrete answer. You can't objectively prove who is better. The only thing that determines who's better is majority opinion, and a majority opinion in this case is extremely biased because most of the people that are coming up are obviously going to say LeBron is the GOAT. If you ask a bunch of people that actually lived through Michael Jordan and watched him play throughout majority of his career, they're going to say Michael Jordan is the GOAT. And it's hilarious because the players themselves, Michael Jordan and LeBron, do not entertain this debate at all. People got mad because LeBron called himself the GOAT, but it's just like, what do you want him to say? You want him to say, oh, I don't think I'm the greatest player of all time, even though I believe I am? That's such a dumb argument. Even if Michael Jordan called himself the GOAT, which he hasn't, but for the sake of argument, let's say he did, the guy has accomplished enough to where he can make that argument and I wouldn't have a problem with it. Michael Jordan has gone on record and said that he has major respect for LeBron. He even said he's a fan of LeBron's game, and it's also well documented the amount of influence MJ had on LeBron when he was coming up. But I find it so funny that the players don't care that much, but the fans are like losing their minds over somebody just having a different opinion. And as far as, the whole "we're done with the 90s" thing, it also exposes that basketball is the only sport, or one of the very few sports, where the current generation is so comfortable with disrespecting the past. But it's also the same sport where the past generation is so comfortable disrespecting the current generation and their current era and their style of play and everything that comes with it. It's just like, we can't appreciate the past and have respect for the past while also appreciating the current game. I feel like that's just ridiculous in my opinion. Because when you look at like football debates, right, you don't ever hear somebody being like, oh, well, if Tom Brady was in the 90s, he would do this. Or if Pat Mahomes was in Joe Montana's era, he would do this. Like, you don't hear those debates that often in football. A lot of the times, people in football, they respect the past because the past paved the way for the current, present, and often the future. But then you have instances like Luka Doncic's 73-point game where people are saying, man, this current era plays no defense, which isn't even true at all. And I've said this before, but the implications of an old head saying that the modern NBA sucks and that the 90s was the greatest era, the implications of that are basically that they think that basketball hasn't evolved in the last 30 years. And while I don't think this is technically an objective statement, basketball has significantly evolved since the 90s, especially on the offensive end. I mean, you have teams shooting an insane number of threes. You have players who are more skilled now than they ever were. You have big men who can not only shoot, but who can dribble and who can create on the perimeter. And this isn't even an argument that I should have to make. Like, basketball has evolved. I feel like that's something that just should be understood and accepted. And I understand the whole concept of people always having rose-tinted glasses when looking at the past, right? A lot of the time, even me, right? When I started watching basketball, I tend to romanticize like the early 2010s era of basketball because I just felt like that was just a more aesthetically pleasing game to watch, I guess. But that's just me being a nostalgia merchant. And how this relates to the GOAT debate, it raises the question of why and when did we feel so comfortable comparing eras, right? Like, yeah, obviously this current era is more skilled and more talented than the eras of the past, but like, I just don't know why we got so comfortable saying like, oh, if you dropped Luka Doncic in the 90s, he would do this. Like, what happened to the whole viewpoint of we can't compare eras, you'll never know how good somebody would be in a different era? Like, I feel like when that whole can of worms was opened and people started comfortably doing that, that's when the GOAT debate really took a nosedive, just in terms of how insufferable it became, because you had people saying that LeBron would average 50 in the 90s. You had people saying Michael Jordan would average 40 points per game in today's era. Like, the arguments got insane. And I'm going to make this section of the video brief. I'm going to quickly give my stance on who I think the GOAT is. And mind you, I'm not going to be arguing in the comments with who my opinion is, because I'm at the point now where LeBron has accomplished so much to where he deserves to be in that conversation with MJ. Whether you think he's better or not, I really don't care. Me personally, I think LeBron is the GOAT. It's been that way since, honestly, 2020. 2020 was when, me personally, I thought LeBron passed MJ. But hey, if you think Michael Jordan is still the GOAT, that's your opinion, and I respect it, you know? And the thing is, if there was new information that came out which either disproved some of the reasons why I think LeBron is the GOAT, or if somebody else is willing to, you know, take that mantle, like let's say Victor Wembanyama in 20 years put together a body of work that's better than both MJ and LeBron. Like 20 years from now, people who think LeBron is the GOAT now are going to be hating on Victor Wembanyama, right? Side note, I'm not using Victor Wembanyama just to say like, oh, I think he has GOAT potential. I just used him as an example because I've seen a lot of people who made the same argument use Wemby, so I'm just going to use Wemby. But the point still stands, right? The facts are what the facts are. My generation is probably going to be doing the same thing that the old heads who love MJ are doing in 20 years. As far as the GOAT debate goes, the GOAT debate is never going to end. It's literally going to continue happening, especially in the age of social media where everybody can give their take on it and everybody's opinion can be either further validated or changed by information that they see. I can make as many videos talking about how harmful the GOAT debate is to basketball discourse. People aren't going to care. People are still going to have the debate no matter what. The best thing I can do is probably just not engage with it at all. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to hit that like button down below. Comment down below if you're done with the 90s or if you love Michael Jordan. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you like videos like this, make sure to subscribe. More videos will be on the way soon, and I'm out. Peace.